Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be reviewing the iPhone 13 after 1 month of use. So I got the iPhone 13 at the beginning of January. It is now the beginning of February, so it has been 1 full month of use. And today we're going to be reviewing the phone and letting you know, is the display good? Are the cameras good? Is the battery life good? And should you buy it? And if you guys are wondering, this is actually shot on an iPhone 13 Pro. So I'm actually recording this whole video and all the B-roll shots with my iPhone 13 Pro, if you guys were wondering. So if you guys are planning on making content yourself, you guys can see what your quality will look like with an iPhone 13 Pro. And some people are going to be better at using the cameras than others. As you guys can probably tell, I'm not great with using them. So some of you guys out there may be much better at using the cameras than I am, and you guys can probably make much better videos. So the first thing I want to go over here is the overall look and design of the phone. I'm personally a huge fan of the box sides and the chrome sides on the phone, and I also really like the large camera bump. I think the cameras look absolutely amazing, and they are very big on this phone, but they are really great cameras, so it kind of shows off, your great cameras that you're getting with the phone, and it's a little bit of a flex to other people. If you guys have the phone, you will also notice that the notch is 20% smaller, but with my personal use, I think the notch is actually a little bit smaller than 20% smaller. It feels more like 40 or 35%. But that might just be me. I've went back and used previous phones, and the notch does seem pretty big on those compared to this phone. But overall, it looks pretty similar to the iPhone 12 with a couple little updated tweaks. But overall, I really love the look of this phone, and I had an iPhone XR previous to this, so I really like how this phone looks and feels compared to that. Moving up next here, we have the display. I would probably say there's 3 big improvements with this phone, and that would be the display, the camera, and the battery life. We're gonna start off here with the display. So with this phone, you will get a 120 Hz Pro Motion display, which is so nice to use, and you really get used to it after a couple days of using. I have went back and tried to use my old phone that had 60 Hz, and I seriously could not go back. So that is one warning for you guys. If you start using this phone in the 120 Hz, it is gonna be really hard to go back to a previous phone or iPad or anything at 60 Hz in general. The display is also really bright, and it has great pixel density, so the pixels per inch are higher than they've ever been. And also the HDR and the brightness of the display is absolutely amazing. It's great for watching any kind of content like Netflix, YouTube, you name it. You guys will be able to do it just fine. One other thing that's not really display related, but I don't want to forget to mention it, is the speakers on this phone are absolutely amazing. They're some of the best smartphone speakers I've ever used. Now I know that isn't saying much because I haven't used a large variety of smartphones, but in personal use, the speakers are well good enough. They sound really good, and they have plenty of volume, bass, and everything like that. Definitely the best smartphone speakers I've ever tried. And one other thing about this phone, if you're upgrading from an iPhone 11 or an XR or something like that, the bezels on this phone are much thinner because it is an OLED display rather than an LCD. That was one big thing that I really enjoyed while switching over to this phone, was the much smaller bezels. Even though the phone is a little bit smaller, the bezels are also smaller, so it just makes it all feel really nice. Moving on to the second most important part of the phone, the battery life. And the battery life on this thing is absurd. I have never went a full day where I've ran out this battery. Like, this battery will last me multiple days, and it also charges up really fast, so you don't really have to worry about it. The phone truly does have all-day battery, and you guys will not need to charge it at all, which is super nice if you guys are constantly traveling or you guys don't have access to wall outlets all the time. This is going to be super great for you. And you guys can also carry a battery bank with you guys in case you do run into, running the battery out, which I highly doubt. But for some of you guys out there that are editing and doing all sorts of crazy stuff for 18 hours a day, I mean, maybe you'll run it out. I seriously doubt that, and the battery is just good enough, because really once you get to over a day of battery, there really isn't anything more that you can do that you'll notice. This makes it through an entire day. I don't need to charge. If you charge it at night, you're never gonna have battery issues with this phone. And moving on to the last and probably my favorite part of this phone is the camera. Like I mentioned, this entire video and all the B-roll shots are being filmed on the iPhone 13 Pro. And I really like the cinematic mode. That's what I'm using right now to record all of these shots. I really like the wide angle camera that lets you guys see a large perspective of things. And I also really like the macro camera. I don't see myself using this as much, but still a really nice addition to have. And I must say, this definitely takes the best night photos that I've ever seen. I've seen lots of different samples and tests online. I think the iPhone 13 Pro definitely has the best nighttime photos and videos. Now with that said, that's all the kind of upgrades for the phone. Would I recommend it for the money? For me, personally, I would say yes in most cases, but if you guys have an iPhone either 11 or 12, I really don't think right now is the time to upgrade. But if you have like an iPhone 8, an iPhone 7, maybe even an iPhone 10R like I did, I would highly recommend the swap. The cameras are great, you're gonna get much better battery life, and the 120 Hz display is a must because it has a 120 Hz panel. And it's really not that much more expensive than the normal iPhone 13. So if you guys are upgrading to a 13, I would probably end up going for the 13 Pro. It'll just be better for you guys in the long run. And if you guys don't buy phones very often, it is kind of nice to put a little bit extra money into future-proofing your phone. And with that said, I haven't had any issues with this phone. I've been absolutely loving it, and I really have no complaints overall about it. If you guys have any questions about this phone or anything you want me to answer, please put down in the comments below. Make sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you guys like tech content like this. And while you're down there, make sure to hit that bell button so you guys are notified every time I make a new video. And that is pretty much all I have to say. I would highly recommend the iPhone 13 Pro to anybody with an older phone, but if you guys have a newer phone, I might wait off a little bit. But if you guys want a great display and the ability to take great photos and great videos, then, I mean, what are you waiting for? I'd highly recommend getting it, and it definitely is a thumbs up in my opinion. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye.